Welcome back to my playthrough of Nethalas. Thank you once again for joining me. It's been a few days since the last one. A lot of things have been going on. A lot of exciting new things to bring to the playthrough. And just for me in general, being new to solo RPGs, I've kind of been going down the rabbit hole the last couple days and exploring all the different games and systems and kind of history of it and all the different aspects to it, and it's really been fascinating. And there's so many things that I'm excited about with this hobby. You guys have no idea, like there's so many things that's really cool, so I'm really happy to have found this hobby, and I'm really excited to be back here for episode 5 of our exploration of the necropolis. And there's several points that I want to talk about before we get to the gameplay. And the first one is the first issue of the Voran Codex. This has just been available in print in the last few days. Quite a lot of amazing things added in here. Really fits well with the core game. I mean, you got this great artwork. I love the theme and the vibe. Everything is really very coherent. You have a lot of really great additions to the rules and also to the character creation. Some really nice stuff, which I'll be talking a little bit more about in a minute. And there's also some really cool scenarios, new monsters, new overseers, new loot, all kinds of great stuff in here. I have not actually played with this content yet, but I would definitely recommend it based on what I have seen. And once again, I mean, look at the incredible artwork here. Very happy with this. I'm going to be implementing a couple things from this in our current playthrough. One of them is going to be the alternate weapon damage, which right now with our club is not going to apply, but it's basically a way to simulate that. Like a sword, for example, could be used for slashing, but it could also be used to thrust and have piercing damage. So if we ever get a weapon that allows this multiple damage type, I will use that. Also, the no failure combat. I've already kind of been using this. I think I read a comment somewhere, maybe Facebook, maybe on YouTube, about people recommending maybe using this as a way to just kind of speed the combat a little bit. Basically just cut down on re-rolling. So I've already been using this, but it's great that it's explained here. So I'm going to continue using that. And even though I will not use it for this playthrough, I really like this new optional system here for checking doors. This would be great if you're going to be playing Nethalas with your own dungeons, some secondary resources that you have, which is definitely something I plan to do in the future. So that's really great. And anyway, there's a lot of other things here. This combat superiority is also really cool, but probably won't be using that. You need to have a level 10 character to use that. But what I want to talk about right now is the flaws and merits system, which we will be using on our character. I have assigned a flaw and a merit to Jed. Basically, the way the system works is if you want to take a merit, which is going to give you some kind of a positive boon, then you also need to take a flaw along with that. So I have taken natural healer merit, which is going to allow us to roll a d6 after combat instead of a d4 for regaining toughness. So that's going to be really nice to have. But you have to take a flaw with it, and the flaw that I have taken is Queasy, which is at the site of blood, and poking at your own wounds makes you sick, so you get minus 10 medicine. Now I'm kind of just banking on the fact that my medicine skill was already 10, and now it's 0, so I essentially went from a 10% chance to 0% chance. So I have noted those here on our character sheet, the natural healer merit and the queasy flaw. So I'm excited to be using those. So some really cool additions to Current Nethalas here, and I definitely look forward to more of these in the future. And great work here to Alex. This is awesome. And so let me get into some housekeeping. Basically, for I think the entirety of my first playthrough and my second playthrough, I have been calculating the damage die incorrectly. So what I've been doing is, say I rolled this, for example. I've been totaling that, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've been totaling that and then putting that into the conversion, so converting 11 damage. And actually what you need to do is you need to convert each die individually. So you would convert 5, you would convert 2, and you would convert 4 individually, and that's going to give you a certain amount of damage. Obviously you can see that it will certainly affect things. And also, if you have something like a +1 bonus, you're going to apply that to your lowest die and only to that die. And the other thing is that with trap damage, there were some instances where I was taking trap damage directly and I wasn't filtering that through the conversion table, so I will be doing that from now on. And generally that's going to be better for you because it's probably going to lower the amount of damage that you're going to take. And I would say too, with the damage die, it's probably going to lower the damage a little bit. Just overall, it's probably going to lower it a little bit. So that was an important thing that I wanted to address there, and going forward, I know how to use the damage die now. So, alright, and then armor integrity. So what I have done here is I have looked at the armor integrity that the rare magic greaves start with and that the heavy cloth starts with, and I've noted that there. But also, when you first discover some new loot, that loot will start at 1 integrity lower. So D10 is the max for this rare magic greaves, but they are actually at D8 now because that's where they start when you find them. And also our torso armor is going to be D6 and maximum, but it starts at D4. Actually, I decided to take off the torso armor, so I now have that in my inventory here, and I need to go ahead and remove that from our protection there. And the reason I have decided to do that is because I would be taking a -10 maneuverability penalty, which is going to affect -10 acrobatics, -10 dodge, and -10 stealth. And I felt like that was a little bit too much, or not worthwhile in the case of the heavy cloth, because it doesn't provide any other benefits. In the case of the rare magic greaves, it does provide multiple benefits there, magical benefits, so I decided it's totally worth taking the -5 there. But we do have -5 maneuverability. Another thing I've done is I'm going to keep a tally of the monsters that we've defeated, because that's important for the brawler, the goal of getting 50 wins with unarmed or fist weapons. So we have a total of 5 enemies there. And I'm also going to keep track of the Growing Darkness events. I'm going to tally them, but some of them will also give you negative modifiers that are going to stay with you for the duration of that domain that you're in, so I will be writing those down as well. And also the tension and lair die, I've gone ahead and put those at the top of the character sheet here, so to help me kind of speed that along a little bit. And I've also returned the lair die to D10, because if you saw in the last episode, I put the lair die to D8, and that's because I was rolling the lair die incorrectly when I was backtracking. I should not be rolling the lair die, so I've moved that back up to D10. And another point there, I mistakenly put the ability that we got with our greaves, I put that as immunity, but it is actually just resistance. And I also did not add the experience from killing the flesh eater when we were camping, so I have added that, so we're up to 280 there. And another thing that was pointed out by Alex, thank you Alex, I had rolled a critical on dodge, and when we camped we could have rolled a check there to see if we could increase our dodge. So what we're going to do right now is roll a skill check. So if we can roll 40 or higher, then we can go ahead and roll a D4 to see how much we can increase our dodge. And if you roll under your skill, so if we roll under 40, then you simply just get 1 point. So we have rolled a 76, which is great. Now we're going to be rolling a d4 to see how much we get to add to our dodge. So we got a 2. So we will now raise our dodge skill to 42 on the base skill, and with our greaves, with our bonus from the greaves, we were going to be at 62 now. So getting quite proficient in dodging. Alright, so that's going to take care of all the housekeeping, and now we can get into today's gameplay. And you may have noticed that I have pinned in the necropolis here. Recently got some ink pins and had a lot of fun just sort of kind of making that spruced up a little bit. Alright, so when we left off, we were in the room here. We had just finished our camping. We are now ready to move on. We're going to go through this door here. So we need to check if this door is in fact locked. And we have rolled a 10, which means that the door is not locked. So we will move through that door, and we're going to generate our room here. We'll roll D100 to generate our room, and that's going to be a 45. So let's see what we have here. 45, nice big circular room. I like that. It shouldn't be too difficult to draw there. Alright, so we have our next room, and we're going to roll for an encounter. Rolling D20, we got an 18, so there is going to be an encounter in this room. And we also need to diminish our light source and roll D6 for our tension and D10 for the layer die. So we have picked up a 1 on the tension, so we're now down to D4, and we'll stay at D10 on the layer die. Okay, so we have an encounter, and it's going to be a hollow shambler. So there's one of them. It's an undead humanoid, and it has an awareness of 30, athletics of 45, 6 health, 40 combat skill, 50 magic resistance. He has a melee attack. Okay. So now we'll check perception. Let's see who is going to attack first here. So our roll is a 25, and they have rolled a 16. So we will win that check there with the higher roll. And another thing that I recently learned is that the sustained ability of the infused weapon can be activated outside of combat, and you can basically leave that on at the cost of just having a reduced Aether pool of 10. So I already have that activated, and I do not need to take a standard action in combat to activate that. So we can now proceed to roll a d6 and 2d4 for our attack here, and I'm also going to add a d20 for the hit location. So our hit location is 8, and that is going to be the abdomen, and we have rolled a 1, 2, and a 4 on damage. So our 1 is going to be 0, and 2 will be 1 damage, and 4 will also be 1 damage. So we will be doing 2 damage. So you can see this is an example here of how adding the damage the way that I was doing it would result in higher damage. So in this case we are going to be dealing 2 damage to the shambler. So the shambler is now at 4 health, which we will represent here with this d12. Okay, now we're going to go to the shambler's turn, and we will see what attack the Shambler will do. 5. So the Shambler is going to do the Tormented Wail, which is a magical attack. The Hollow Shambler releases a haunting wail that chills the souls of those who hear it. Each creature must make a resolve check. On a failed roll, the creature is frightened for 2 rounds and takes 2d6 psychic damage. Well, with our resolve skill of 30, we don't have a great chance to pass this. This could be a pretty damaging attack for us. And we have rolled 24, so we do pass the check. A little bit of luck on our side there. Alright, so we'll queue up our next attack. We will go for the Shambler here. Attacking once again with our air-infused claw and fist. And we have rolled 49, and the Shambler has rolled 19. So the Shambler did have a successful roll there, but again we have the higher number, so our attack will be successful. Now we'll roll for damage. We're going to roll 1d6 and 2d4 and our d20 for the hit location. So our hit location is 14 in the left arm, and let's tally up our damage. 2 is going to give us 1 damage, 4 will give 1 damage, and 3 will give 1 damage, so we have a total of 3 damage, and that is going to bring the Shambler down to 1. So maybe one more round we can finish him off. And now the Shambler will select their attack. They have rolled a 3. It's going to be the Distorted Lurch. The Hollow Shambler's disjointed limbs allow it to move in an unpredictable and unsettling manner, increasing its combat skill by 5 for d4 rounds. Okay, so we have a buff. I have not seen a buff before, I think from the monsters. And this would have been really helpful on their first turn, but I think it's not going to help him too much. We will see. So we need to roll a d4 to see how many rounds this is going to help his skill there. And 4 rounds, so he's going to get the full 4 rounds. But with a combat skill of +5, I think it's not going to help him that much. That's only going to bring him to 45 on the combat skill. And another thing to note is that all of the cards do have the page number reference there, so you can find it in the book. It's a really nice detail that I just noticed on the cards recently. Okay, so that's going to finish the Shambler's turn, and we're going to launch our attack. And we're not going to worry too much about his buff there because I think we can finish him. Let's see. Well, we rolled a 99, which is very high. So our skill is 80. So we are above our skill there, and the Shambler has rolled a 60, and he currently has a skill of 45, so he's above his skill as well. And this again is a case where if you follow the no failure combat, then you're going to be looking at the raw skill scores to determine who is going to be the victor here. We also have the +10 for the attacker, so that's going to put us at 90, but we're still over. But again, if we go by 90 as the raw skill score, it's still much higher than 45, so we will prevail in this attack. And it's certainly up to you how you want to play that, but I prefer combat to be detailed and deadly and flow pretty quickly. So I'm very much in favor of using the quick resolve. But you guys can let me know what you think about that. Alright, so we're going to roll our damage die here again, and we have a 7 on the hit location, and it's not really too important if it's not a 19 or 20 for the head. So 7 is going to be the abdomen, but we're not too worried about that. we didn't target it specifically. Okay, so we're going to roll our damage die here. And we've rolled a 6 on the location. And we're looking at 3, 3, and 1 on the damage. So 1 is going to be 0, and the 3s are going to be 1 apiece, so that's going to be 2. The Shambler has been defeated. We get to roll a 1d6 in order to determine how much toughness we will recover, and this is due to our natural healer merit. And we have rolled a 6. Alright. So that's going to give us some much needed healing that we were not able to get in the camp, bringing us up to 15 out of 18 toughness. And we will add 50 experience, putting us to 330. And we now have a chance to roll on the spoils table. So we will roll a d6 here, and 4, that's going to be a roll on the valuable items table. Rolling d20. 3, we're going to get another random potion, and with our medicine skill of 0, there's no chance for us to identify that. Okay, so that's going to bring us to a total of 3 unknown potions, and I still think it would be kind of fun to drink all 3 of them and see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't cost us the game if we were to do that against the Overseer, but I think it'll be fun. Not sure if I'll actually do that, but I like the possibilities of that though. Okay, so we have finished that combat there, and now we have the opportunity to scavenge. With our scavenge skill of 10, this is going to be pretty tough here. 31. Okay, so we're not going to be doing any scavenging. And there is actually a merit that can increase scavenging. I was thinking about taking that, but I could not find another flaw that I actually felt comfortable with taking, so I did not do that. But you are, in the rules, you are able to take up to 2 merits and 2 flaws. A very cool system, though. I'm looking forward to making another character in the future and going a little bit further into that. Okay, so that was our 9th room there, and I think we're going to continue on past this door here, so let's go ahead and check if this door is locked. And we have rolled a 3, and the door is not going to be locked, so we are able to pass through there. Let's roll D100 to find what room we have. 73. And 73 is going to be a rather small dead-end room, and that's kind of off the edge of the map there, so I'm just going to kind of shorten that a little bit. And now let's roll for our tension die and lair die. So we have rolled a 1 on the tension die, so we're going to have a tension event, and we have rolled a 2 on the lair die, so we are now down to D8, and the tension die is going to reset back to D8. And now we're going to roll on the growing darkness table, and this is both exciting and scary, I would say. So let's roll our D100 here. 91. An inhuman voice screams, whispers, and yells. Somehow you know that's an overseer. Roll on the overseer influence table. All opponents in this domain benefit from the result, but they also grant plus 10 XP. Okay, so we're going to be adding a second overseer influence, which could certainly make things pretty scary here, and we're also going to grant plus 10 experience. Actually, that reminds me that I have not been using the overseer influence pretty much the whole time. So this plus 2 damage, all enemies should be dealing plus 2 damage. Now, I would say in most physical attacks, I think Jed has actually defended against almost every physical attack that's come his way, but all of the magical damage that he's taken should have been plus 2. So I need to remember that. It's something I'll probably go ahead and add to the first page here. It'll help me to remember that. But anyway, now let's do a roll on the Overseer Influence and see how much more deadly they're going to get. And this is going to be a D10 roll, and it's a 3, so they are frenzied again. So this double frenzy, I guess it's going to be plus 4 damage. So that's pretty rough right there. Alright, so we got a super frenzy going on here. These guys are super frenzied. Okay, I gotta remember that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put up here super frenzy. And plus 4 damage. So do not forget that going forward. And let's see if we're going to have an encounter here. 14, we are going to have an encounter here. And this is going to be a Vinekin, which we have fought before. I believe the last time wasn't too bad, but now that they're super frenzied, this could get crazy. Well, let's see here. So let's go ahead and roll for initiative. The Vinekin has 40 awareness. The Vinekin has rolled 44, failing their check. We've rolled 39. And we also get plus 10 to initiative checks as well with our quickness. So we have succeeded in this check, which we usually do. At least when it comes to physical combat, and first striking Jet is quite formidable against most opponents. Alright, now we're going to roll for combat. They have 30 combat skill. And we got 43 and they got 24. So they were successful in their roll, but we again have the higher number. So we will succeed there. And we're going to roll damage. Rolling d6 and 2d4, and we'll add in the location. The Vinekin is a humanoid, so the location is a 1, and again 19 or 20 is the head. That's what we really want, so we just hit them on the leg there. Now our damage, we got some pretty high rolls here. We got 2 4s and a 5. That's pretty nice. So the 2 4s are going to give us 1 and 1, which is 2 damage, and the 5 is going to give us 2 damage, so that is a total of 4 damage. The Vinekin has been reduced from 5 down to 1, so we came out swinging and hit him pretty hard. And now the Vinekin will roll to determine their attack. It's going to be a 3. This is going to be the Entangling Roots, and in this case the Vinekin summons Twisted Roots from the ground to ensnare all creatures within the room. Each creature in that area must succeed on a dodge check or be entangled. Alright, well, we get a chance to test out our recently buffed dodge skill thanks to our Magic Greaves. So let's see. Oh, 94. We did not pass that one. Our Greaves didn't help us in this case. So now we're going to be entangled. So let me write that down here, that we are entangled. And so again, entangled, the afflicted is wrapped in something that restricts their movement. They are incapable of moving, in any action that imply movement suffer a minus 20 penalty. In their turn, the entangled character can attempt an athletics check in order to remove the condition. This is a free action, but the character can spend to choose a standard action to receive a plus 20 to their athletics check. Alright, so we have a 40% chance with our athletics. So we would suffer a minus 20 penalty to our attack if we were to go ahead and go for an attack. Now our attack would be 90, so I feel pretty confident that we could still succeed in our attack. So should we risk it? I think we can risk it. So our attack is going to be 70. Oh, I'm going to re-roll that because the die flew out of there. Alright, 36. So we've succeeded in our attack. The Vinekin, 76, they failed. So our attack is still going to go through, even though we are entangled. Can't keep Jed down. He is ready to fight everything. They may be super frenzied, but Jed is super frenzied as well. Okay, and we also can roll our location die here. Hit location, and a 10. Okay, it's not going to be too important. 1 is going to be 0, 4 is going to be 1, and 3 is going to be 1, giving us a total of 2 damage, and the Vinekin has been dispatched. Not too bad there. Vinekins are not too deadly, and we're going to add 60 experience due to our Growing Darkness event, which I will note that down here in a minute. We do have 2 events. Oh, that's going to bring us to 390 actually, if we add 60 there. And we can roll a d6 to see about getting some toughness back, and we have rolled a 1. Bring our toughness up to 16, and we can roll on the spoils table, I believe. Yes, we can. And that's a 3. I think that's going to be the mundane items table. Yep. We'll roll on the mundane items table. D100. And we have rolled a 2. That's going to be D4 crafting supplies, which is not a bad thing to get for us, 2, because we have a very low scavenging skill. So rolling on the mundane items table is actually very useful for Jed due to his very poor scavenging. Alright, and speaking of scavenging, we can do that now. We're going to have to roll under a 10. 78, nothing for us. And so we are now in our 10th room here. And I'm going to go ahead and note down the Growing Darkness. So we have, what did we have? We had an overseer. We had an overseer howl. We heard their distant howl, and that added to the frenzy. So we have 2x overseer influence, and we also get plus 10 XP for defeating enemies. Alright, so the darkness is growing in the necropolis. And we will end it there for today. Thank you all very much for joining me, and hope to see you next time.